By the time I was old enough to notice the world around me, I understood that Christmas Eve in our house didn't resemble anyone else's. While other families wrapped presents or drifted through cozy traditions, my family followed a set of rules so strict and uneasy that they felt more like warnings than customs. Mom would move through the house with a tense urgency, securing every lock twice, then a third time, as if repetition alone could save us. She'd pull every curtain shut until not a single sliver of outside light could slip through, then crank the television volume high enough that the walls hummed with noise. I didn't question it, not really. I learned early that curiosity was unwelcome. Whenever I opened my mouth to ask why we did all of this, Mom's expression would harden. Her eyes would drift to the front door, lingering there in a way that made my stomach twist, as though she were checking for something only she could sense. "It's important," she'd say, clipped and final, shutting down any attempt at conversation. Eventually, I stopped asking. I stopped trying to understand. Instead, I followed the rules the way she taught me to, quietly, carefully, and without hesitation. And as the years passed, those strange rituals became a part of our holiday, a shadow hanging over a night meant for joy, hinting at something just beyond the edges of our understanding. This year, at 24, I returned to that house for the first time in months. Snow had been falling all afternoon, thick flakes that piled on rooftops and coated the streets in white. The wind lashed at the windows as if it were alive, searching for something. Mom had been called into work at the hospital for a night shift, leaving me alone in the house I had grown up in. She hesitated at the door, her gloved hand gripping the doorknob like she feared letting go. "Lock everything before sunset," she said. "Don't look outside. Don't answer anything you hear. Just don't." Then she left, and the front door closed with a soft, final thud that seemed louder than it should. I heard the locks click into place behind her, 1, 2, 3 times, and an icy gust of wind chased her down the walkway. The house, suddenly quiet, felt enormous. Shadows pooled in corners, where I remembered light always lingering. I could hear the storm outside wailing, a low, relentless howl. I tried to ignore the way my stomach twisted, telling myself it was just nostalgia, just the wind, just a long winter night. But the knots didn't fade. By 10:30 p.m., the TV was barely audible over the storm. I had poured myself a cup of hot chocolate, wrapped in a blanket, and tried to convince myself I wasn't afraid. The lights flickered once, twice, and then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the house, thick and heavy, pressing against my eyes. I lit a candle, the flame trembling like it understood fear. Outside, the wind shrieked, rattling the window panes. The house creaked in response, settling into some ancient rhythm. And then I heard it. 3 slow taps at the front door. Knock, knock, knock. I froze. The candle wavered in my hand. My heart stuttered. Then came a whisper, low, raspy, and horrifyingly deliberate. "Margaret, I found you." My blood ran cold. My mother's name is Karen. No Margaret exists in our family. I pressed my back against the wall, hoping it was a joke, a trick of the wind. But the voice persisted, chilling and real. "Pretty little Margaret." Open the door. I backed into the kitchen, shaking, unable to form a word. My chest felt like it was collapsing inward. The wind rattled the windows and slammed against the siding, but the knocks continued slow, patient, precise. They weren't random. They had purpose, intent. They were measured, calculated, as if time itself were bending around the sound. Then it spoke again, a breathy, chilling whisper that sliced straight into my bones. "Lena," my real name. My knees nearly gave out. I covered my mouth, trembling so hard I was afraid my body might betray me. Another whisper, "Lena, let me see you." The porch light outside cast a dim shadow under the door, and in that shadow, I glimpsed a figure. It was tall, impossibly thin, perfectly still. He didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't knock anymore. He simply waited. The stillness was worse than the knocks. It pressed down on me, a silent, patient predator. My stomach churned, my mind screamed, but I was frozen, incapable of fleeing or even breathing properly. Minutes passed, or was it hours? Until headlights slashed across the snow outside. The shadow vanished instantly, dissolving into the darkness like smoke in the wind. My body didn't register relief until I heard the garage door creak and slam. Mom was back. She burst through the front door, snow sticking to her coat, her hair plastered to her forehead. "Lena, are you okay?" The power what? Her words cut off when she saw me, pale, shaking, candlelight trembling against my face. She stiffened, eyes widening with horror. "You didn't answer him, did you?" she whispered. "No," I croaked. My throat was dry. "But he knew my name." Her face drained of all color. She sank into the nearest chair, shaking, as though the storm had finally touched her. "Oh God," she muttered. "Oh God, Lena." "He spoke your name." I pressed a hand to my mouth, too terrified to speak. "Mom! Who? What is he? Why does he... How does he know my name?" She shook her head slowly, her breath uneven. "He comes every Christmas Eve. Every single one. For generations. My mother warned me, and her mother warned her. He searches for a child to claim. If he guesses the right name, if anyone answers, he takes them." I felt bile rise in my throat. "Takes them? For what? Why?" Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "A man who died long ago, one Christmas Eve in a storm like tonight. He lost his own child, and his grief curdled into something else, something that never dies. He follows bloodlines. He claims a daughter in each generation and learns her name however he can." I shook my head, my mind screaming at the absurdity, at the terror. "So I'm marked now." She nodded. "Yes. And knowing your name means he will come every year. Every year he'll knock, whisper, wait. He'll test your courage. He'll push and prod until he finds a weakness. And if you answer..." Her voice broke. She didn't need to finish. The implication was clear. The loss would be permanent. I sank onto the couch beside her, shivering, my body still frozen by the memory of the shadow, the whisper, the cold, impossible patience. "There's no way to stop him?" I whispered. "We don't know," she admitted. "Some families tried, some failed. All we can do is survive. Teach our daughters to survive. That's the only defense. You survive tonight, and you pass on what you learn. That's all we have." The wind outside eased into a strange, deliberate hush, as though the storm itself had paused to listen, and in that uneasy quiet, the realization settled deep inside me. Cold, sharp, unshakable. He knew my name now. He had marked me. He would be back next year, and the year after, and every Christmas Eve that followed, until either he claimed me, or I became strong enough to stand against him, strong enough to one day warn and protect my own daughter. The candle's flame trembled, throwing nervous light across the room. I shut my eyes, but it didn't stop the memory. The 3 slow, measured taps against the door, each one heavier than the last. I could still feel the weight of his presence pressing through the wood, still sense that endless shadow waiting just inches away. The house had fallen silent again, but it was the kind of silence that felt temporary, fragile. He wasn't gone, not truly. He was patient, ancient, persistent. He would return, and when he did, would I have the strength to keep from answering? The question sent a chill straight through me. But beneath the fear was something else, something steadier. I had made it through tonight. Against every instinct, every warning, I had survived. And I would survive next year, and every Christmas Eve after. Because if I failed, if I slipped even once, he would take me. My story would end, and the curse would move on, reaching for the next life in line. I planted my hands on my knees, listening to the storm's fading growl, the settling creaks of the house, and the deep, suffocating quiet between them. The countdown had already begun, and I knew without question he would come back.